Hello, my beautiful Pisces North Nodes, you magical souls out there. This is Maya Joy Kana once again, and I'm coming to you today with another message on the Pisces North Node, and today's message is about releasing rules and regulations and the unconscious rules and regulations that a lot of us place on ourselves. And I just want to take a little moment to formally apologize to all the other North Nodes that tune into the Maya's Dream channel, because I know you all want videos for your North Node, but right now, today's inspiration was once again for the Pisces North Node, and I hope that you all can understand. So anyway, I myself have the North Node in Pisces, and I'm on this amazing journey of discovery and learning to allow the energy of Pisces to fill my life and heal my being. And I had a little moment yesterday when I was setting out my dinner on the table, and this is where the inspiration for today's message came from. I was setting out the dinner on the table, and I had the thought, wow, that looks really tasty. I would really like to have a bite of that right now, as I was sort of putting it on the place, and then I heard this voice in my head that was like, Maya, no, you cannot, take a bite of your food. You can only eat, when you are sitting down and calm and are able to really enjoy the food. And I observed that voice within myself, and I was like, whoa, I didn't even realize that I had that rule for myself. And then I asked myself, Maya, where did this rule come from? And I went all the way back in my little memory, all the way back to 2015, and I remembered a session that I had with a lovely angelic Ayurvedic medical practitioner that I work with, and it was our first session, and she was teaching me all about my dosha, which is the body energy type, and my dosha is Vata. And one of the things that she taught me in that first session was that Vata doshas should not eat on the go, because that can create digestive problems for us, as we have really sensitive digestion. And so I remember her saying in that session, Maya, you should always try to sit down when you eat, be fully present with your food, don't eat on the run, don't eat when you're driving or walking down the street, don't eat when you're on the go. And I realized yesterday that without even knowing it, I had completely internalized that rule to such an extent that it had actually become a hindrance to my own personal joy and satisfaction in my life, because I'd taken on the rule, which was meant to be more of a guideline. In general, try to avoid eating on the go, as it might cause some digestive problems for you, and where possible, sit down and chew your food slowly and stuff, and that will help your digestion. And certainly that's a good principle for Vata. But what it became for me instead was something quite militant, and I have observed within myself and other Pisces North Nodes that we have a tendency to take in rules and regulations and internalize them in our thought process in a way that cuts us off from magic and joy in our lives. And that's because we're coming from a cycle of past lives in the Virgo energy where we were learning to master following the rules. And sort of the archetypal past life, if you have your North Node in Pisces, is one in which you were, for example, a medical professional, where it's there are very, very specific procedures, and we all know this right now, given that this is the time of the virus, but there are very, very specific medical procedures that you have to follow. If you're a doctor or you're a nurse or things like that, there's a certain way that you need to give medications at a certain dose and stuff like that, otherwise the person might die, and so a lot of us with the Pisces North Node, we're coming from, in whatever different way, past lives where we were dealing with matters of life and death that required us to follow very specific procedures and protocols to the T. And what that means now is then we're born into this lifetime with this gift, with this skill set for taking on rules, and we're hypersensitive to any particular rules that are in the environment, especially things that relate to Virgo themes, which include like work, service, health, daily routines. And so, for example, some people might really struggle. Some other North nodes might, say, for example, North node in Taurus, so they might really struggle to follow a very strict, specific regime around food and to follow other rules, and they might just kind of say, no, I think I'm going to break this one right now. Somebody who has their North Node in Pisces and the South Node in Virgo is really likely to be able to pick up a protocol, for example, for a specific diet and say, okay, this diet doesn't allow any sugar, it doesn't allow any gluten, it doesn't allow any fast food, it doesn't allow any processed food, it doesn't allow any carbs, no problem. Like we are better able than the average person to just accept the limitations of rules and just follow things exactly as we are told that they should be. And yet, this cuts us off from fully experiencing the magic of life. So if you have this North Node in Pisces, I encourage you all to do kind of what I've been doing a little bit more recently, which is really observe your inner dialogue and observe where you might have become a little bit overly rigid in regards to procedures, protocols, rules, regulations, and it's not about being like a total rebel, it's not about breaking the law or anything like that, but in this lifetime, we have to let go of the rules that we put on ourselves. Anytime that you tell yourself, I've got to do something this way, I've got to load the dishwasher this way, or I have to take this many steps today, or I have to, whatever it is, all these things that we tell ourselves, it's got to be this way or something's going to go wrong. That's no longer true for you. That was true for you in your most recent incarnation, in your most recent past life, and maybe even in childhood in this lifetime. And so give yourself a hug and be compassionate and be sensitive for yourself, because those rules and regulations helped you and others to survive and thrive in the past, but now they're no longer needed. And now part of our growth involves consciously breaking some of the rules, knowing that our liberation depends on it. Our deep satisfaction and joy depends on it. So as much as maybe you might have the rule, for example, that you've got to wake up every single day at 6:30 a.m. or something like that, and as much as for, say, 75% of the world may benefit from having strict rules around when they wake up, it's no longer helpful for you. Like, that rule for you isn't helpful, whatever rule it so happens to be. And for you, the most helpful thing is to break the rules and say, you know what, I might have woken up at 6:30 a.m. for the past every single day of my life, and it might have brought me great security, but tonight I'm going to turn off the alarm, and tomorrow I'm going to sleep for as long as my body and soul wants to, maybe even all day, and I'm not going to be afraid, because I'm going to trust that Spirit has a plan for my life, and that there's higher rules, the rules of the universe. I'll allow the rules of the universe to guide my life, and I'll gently release the pressure I put on myself to follow my own rules, my own procedures. I hope that you guys are able to align with this message as well. It's just really a simple one today, just that you're safe to let go of some of those rules that you put on yourself and others about the way that things need to be. And actually, in this lifetime, there is no longer any way that things have to be for you. And so when you start to feel your body tense up when you're telling yourself, no, you've got to do it this way, or no, it needs to be more perfect, or no, you can't do it that way, you got to do it this way, this is the right way. When you start to feel, experience, hear that in your inner dialogue, that's your sign it's time to let go. That's your sign it's time to consciously, from a place of love, break that rule in order to see that nothing bad really happens. No harm will come upon you now for breaking the rules. In fact, a great deal of joy will probably come from it, a great deal of liberation, and shaking things up a little bit for you, letting go of the guidelines on how things need to be, and letting things flow naturally, and beginning to trust in that natural flow that everything will be okay, even without the regulations, the routines, the rules. That is going to bring you into so much more of a wonderful quality of life. So if you have the Pisces North Node and you're open to it, I invite you to comment below with a rule that you have for your life of a certain thing that you've always got to do, or a way that something needs to be, that you're now ready to challenge or let go of, so that you can surrender and open up more and more to the magic of life and be present for all that's unfolding naturally for you. So anyway, you guys, sending all of you Pisces North Nodes and 12th House North Nodes a big, big hug and lots of love and support for you on your journey as you learn to let go and allow things to unfold in perfect divine order. Okay? Many blessings to all of you, and namaste.